The jury just gave you $5 million for all of the harms and losses and damages you suffered. How soon after that jury verdict will you be able to get your $5 million? Would you like to learn the answer? Come join me for a walk on this deserted island as I share with you the answer to that question. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. The short answer is not for a while. The longer answer is it depends. So now, after the jury has come back with a verdict, the very first thing that's going to happen is the defense attorney is going to jump up out of his seat as if an ejection button was pressed and ask the judge to throw out your verdict, claiming it's against the weight of the evidence. Now, the judge in all likelihood is not going to render a snap decision right then and there. Instead, he's going to give the defense lawyer an opportunity to get the trial transcript, which can take weeks and weeks, and then put together a legal argument to explain why he believes the verdict should be thrown out and is not supported by the evidence in the case. Then he's going to give your attorney, the plaintiff's attorney, the opportunity to respond. So he will give the defense attorney many weeks, if not months, in which to go ahead and gather these papers and prepare these legal arguments. Then he will give your lawyer, the plaintiff's lawyer, a number of weeks or months in which to respond. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's great, but that doesn't speed up the process. Then, after all of those arguments are put together and compiled for the judge now is not going to make a snap decision. He needs time to digest and to read and analyze those papers submitted by the defense as well as those papers submitted by your attorney. And it could be months before the judge reaches a decision. Now, the judge could ultimately come to the decision that he's going to leave the verdict as it is. If that's true, and he does leave the verdict as it is, what's going to happen? Are you going to get your check right then and there? The answer is no, you're not. In all likelihood, if the defense is unhappy with the judge's ultimate decision, they will likely appeal. Now, appealing that decision could take anywhere from 1 to 2 years. And during that time, you're not going to get a dime. Now, you should know something else. If your case is appealed and ultimately the appellate court comes down in your favor, confirming that yes, the jury's verdict is going to stand, now, did you know that you will be able to obtain interest on the verdict from the date of the verdict up until the time that the appellate court has rendered its final decision? Did you know that? That's an important point for you to understand. So now, go back with me to the appellate court. The appeals court could review all these legal arguments and make a decision that yes, we agree with the judge below, we're going to leave the verdict as it is. Did you know that the defense still has the opportunity, if there are grounds to do so, to appeal it to the next higher court, which in New York is the highest court in the land, called the Court of Appeals. Not every case that is appealed to the Court of Appeals will be accepted for appeal, which would mean that whatever the appellate court has decided is going to stand. The appeals court could also determine that you are not entitled to a verdict in your favor and they throw out your verdict. In which case, even though the jury came back with a $5 million verdict in your favor, you know what you get in that instance? Nothing. Your attorney gets nothing and you get nothing. Okay. There are also a couple of other options. Another option might be that the appellate court determines that the amount of money that you received as full and fair compensation for all of the injuries and damages you suffered is insufficient to compensate you. In that instance, they will increase the amount of money they think you should receive. Now, if the defense agrees with that, which they won't, but if they were to agree with it, now that becomes the final decision, and now they will have to cut you a check for that amount of money. If they do not agree, guess what? Now what will happen is the appellate court will send your case back to the trial judge to try this case all over again, likely on the issue of damages, on the issue of how much you are to receive as full and fair compensation for your injuries. Okay. There is another option. Another option is that the appellate court actually reduces the amount of money that you are to receive, in which case you could either agree or disagree. If you disagree, guess what? They will likely send you back to the trial judge. You'll have another trial, and now most likely a trial on damages to determine how much money you are actually to receive. So go back to the question I raised at the beginning of this video. The jury has just given you $5 million as compensation for the doctor's carelessness. And now the first thing that goes through your mind is, excellent, I'm so happy, I'm so excited, when do I get my check? Well, the reality is, not for a while. assuming, of course, that your verdict is upheld on appeal, and now the defense actually has to pay, and they are compelled to pay. In that instance, only after all the appeals are exhausted, only then will they have no choice but to cut you a check for that final amount. So why do I share this quick information with you? I share it with you just to open your eyes and to help you understand how these types of cases work in New York. You know, I realize you're likely watching this video because you want to see the beautiful scenery on this deserted island. No, that's not why. I realize you're watching this video because you likely have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if your matter did happen in New York and you are thinking about bringing a lawsuit, but haven't done so yet because you still have questions that need to be answered, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. You know, I answer questions like yours every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at Oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a fantastic day.